morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly episode. I spit that out there for just a minute. And it is episode 157 for March the 8th, 2022. So we're moving right along into the second week of March here. So let's have a little coffee and then talk about what I have to show you. And here it is. So one of my purchases, recent purchases of fabric, I saw this on their website, and it was a cute little applique Irish gnome for St. Patty's Day, I guess. And you know how I'm into gnomes, so I thought I would purchase this, and I did. And I put it together and decided I needed something for my front door for the month of March. So that's when I created this banner. And the colors are very bold, as you can see, but I pulled those colors from the applique itself. And I just did some simple ruler foot quilting in the triangles and in the square and things like that. And here's a little bit closer up. And I think I did a pretty good job. I'm getting better at that. Now, mind you, this was done on my domestic machine. I wouldn't bother putting this on the long arm because it's just too small for that. It's very easy to manage it on a domestic machine. And as I said, I just did simple ruler foot quilting with the exception of the border, and I did wavy line with my walking foot. So I think it turned out quite nice. And luckily, in my stash, I had this fabric, this variegated fabric that has exactly the same colors as the fabrics I used in the main part of the banner. So yeah, somebody called it a mini quilt. I suppose it is. I call it a banner, and it's got me thinking that maybe what I should do is make a banner for every month of the year on some theme about this size. And you know, maybe I'll do an applique, maybe I'll do something embroidery like, and just put it on my front door of my house, and you know, just for seasonal decoration sort of a thing. I don't know, we'll see. It's one of those projects that is fast to do and kind of fun too. I stay away from applique, and I don't know why, because once I've done some applique, I'm really kind of into it and kind of like enjoy doing it. So yeah, I'll have to see about that. Actually, that reminds me, I have a really huge applique project that I've had for a while that is based upon different areas in Canada. And yeah, I should pull that out and get to work on that as well. But I am working on something else, and this. Okay. I don't know what it is with me and patterns lately, but you've heard me say this before. I am finding mistakes in patterns, major mistakes, which is kind of upsetting. And this one was no exception to what's becoming, unfortunately, a rule, because this is the pattern for the Strong and Free quilt from Northcott that works with their 10th anniversary O Canada fabric collection. And you know, I had a great deal of difficulty getting my hands on this particular pattern. And it's built around this panel as well. Well, I found errors in the pattern, major errors. This is not a complicated quilt. This is strips. And the strips are various lengths, and you sew them together, and you get sort of this, you know, rise and falling effect down here at the bottom. Now, I have a little problem over on this side, and I'll talk about that in a moment. So, I went through the cutting instructions and cut everything to the size that they wanted it to be cut. And it was very straightforward, really. Nothing complicated about the cutting. Then I started assembling it. Well, in their instructions, they're telling me to attach a 38.5-inch strip to another strip. I don't have any 38.5-inch strips. The longest strip that I cut was 36.5 inches. They never called anywhere in the pattern for a 38.5-inch strip. Now, this pattern made two sizes. It made a lap and it made a twin, and I made the twin. So I'm going back and I'm thinking, did I accidentally read the wrong cutting instructions for the wrong quilt? No, I did not. I went with a fine-tooth comb through that quilt pattern looking for anywhere where it mentioned cutting 38.5-inch strips, and it didn't. However, this compounded because all of the other strips were not cut to the right size according to the pattern. They were all off by about 2 inches. So you see each of these little pieces here, these strips, They were all off by about 2 inches. So that I consider to be a major mistake in the pattern. Now, one thing I did not do is go to the Northcott site and see if they had an addendum or an error sheet for this pattern. Maybe I'll do that later today. But because this was such a very simple pattern, I was able to adapt using the pieces that I had already cut. And that was fine until I got to this bottom center section here. I put all these pieces together as was instructed in the pattern, and it was short. I had cut the panel to the size that they told you to cut it to. And if you don't look at these two little side strips that are here, those are add-ons, because this is the piece they told you to sew, and it's too short. So I added these 2 extra pieces on either side, which kind of disrupts the flow of the quilt across this way, but yeah, what can you do? I mean, I did think about redoing these 2 pieces and making them just slightly wider to fill in the gap, and I could have done that, but I didn't. Also, I was running low on some of this fabric because I got the fabric they asked for. Well, no, I didn't get the fabric they asked for because they didn't have the fabric. Nobody has all of this fabric yet. Northcott has just been sucking, according to the shop owners that I've talked to, about getting this out to the stores. They blame it on COVID, and I guess they're doing some restructuring. I don't care. I'm very disappointed in Northcott as a company. Seems that way a lot of things now. Companies are just letting us down left and right, aren't they? But nevertheless, I adapted it. I made it. It'll be fine. I got it all together and went, yay, great. And then I looked at it after I took this picture. This is wrong. I got these 2 strips turned around the wrong way. This one should be here. This one should be here. If you'll notice here, so they're rising, the black strips on this side, and they should be descending on this side. So I pulled it all out, ripped it all out, and I have it fixed, and I'll show you a picture of that. So here it is fixed. So now you can see that they rise up on this side, they go down on this side, and that's the way they're supposed to be. I'm still not pleased with what I did here on these 2 sides, but I'm not going to rip it out and make that work. You know, it's not that big a deal to me, quite frankly. So it's sitting on Lucy now, and I am going to quilt it, and I have a pantograph that is of maple leaves and swirls that I think will look really nice on this. So later today, I'm going to get to work on getting this all quilted. So maybe by next week, I'll be able to show you the finished product. Okay, so that's what I've been up to. And let's talk about what's happened in the last week. Well, we had lots of things happening in the last week. Craft and Chat was last Wednesday, and it's growing. I get a few more people each time I do it, and we had a lot of fun. I got a lot of stuff I want to get done that day, and learn some things as well. Always do. If you'd like to be on the mailing list for Craft and Chat, just drop me an email message saying so. My email address is in the show notes, and I'll be more than happy to add that to your name to the list. Rented lips this morning. And yeah, and also you know that in the show notes about a week before in all my videos, I put in the Zoom link for Craft and Chat there too. All are welcome. So I hope you will be able to join us too. I realize that for some people, if they work, because it's on the first Wednesday of every month, starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that, you know, you may not be available. But that's why I'm going to have pop-up sew days, which, should have one of those soon again, shouldn't I? We'll see. Anyways, that was great. And then, of course, we had the Idiot Quilter Spring Retreat. And that was, well, I feel it went off very well. And I've had quite a few people write me comments about it and said they enjoyed the day. And if you weren't there, you missed out on a good time. You missed out on some really great speakers. You missed out on some great interaction. And everybody got a lot of things done. I think at the height of the retreat, we had about 40 people. That's pretty good. And also, if you'd like to be on the mailing list for future retreats, the next one will probably be at the end of September, 1st of October, the fall retreat. Again, just drop me a line and I'll add you to the mailing list and you'll get advanced notice of when that will be. But anyways, it was a lot of fun. The icebreaker cocktail party was a scream and a half. At least Walter and I had a good time. Might have been the wine. I don't know. But we had a good time. It was nice to socialize with people. Um, Unfortunately, during the retreat, I don't get to socialize as much as I would like to because there's a lot of technical stuff that goes on behind the scenes that essentially I have to run to make things look seamless. And I did have some technical issues, but I don't think it really disrupted the flow of anything for anybody except for me. And that's okay. I was able to handle it. So, yeah, it was great. And of course, we had Kate Jackson from The Last Homely House. And she, I interviewed her, and she's just so nice and such a fantastic crafter, quilter, sewer, wool dyer, spinner, everything. Kate does it all. I am telling you, she is. I really wish she lived near, or I lived near to her, because I know that I would enjoy getting together with her and having, lunch or something, or, a sew day or something like that. She's just that kind of person. So if you missed the retreat, I did record the interview I did with Kate during the retreat, and it is now posted, if you haven't seen it yet, on my YouTube channel. And there will be a link for that in the show notes below as well. So do check it out, because she is a lovely, lovely person. And I want to thank her publicly for agreeing to, like, I didn't really think I'd get Kate. I was definitely a fanboy. Okay. And it was just a complete and surprise, very welcome surprise that she agreed to do it. And not only that, she supplied a prize as well, which I didn't ask her to do that. That's just the kind of person she is, really, very giving. So thank you, Kate, if you see this, and do check out the interview I did with her. Okay, moving on. I am sorry there was no So Chatty episode last week, and I think that's the first week we've missed in about a year. We had a topic, and we'll probably pick up that topic tail end of this week. But to be honest, I was really busy getting things ready for the retreat and for the icebreaker cocktail party as well, and already had done craft and chat that week, plus my regular videos on here. And I even joined a retreat that was sponsored by Conquering Mountain Scrapmore and some other YouTube channels, the International Sew Day that they put together. That was fun. I got a lot done there too, but that fell on the Friday, so I had to leave it a bit early, to get ready for my icebreaker cocktail party. And yeah, it was good. And I hope they have more in the future. And for their very first run at something like this, it seemed to go off without a hitch as far as I was concerned. Although Brenda from Conquering Mount Scrapmore thought it was a train wreck, but I don't think it was. I thought it was great. Okay, so I was the only man there, right? And there's a bunch of ladies, and the ladies were sort of man bashing. You know, not anything serious, but I did keep my head down and keep my mouth shut because I'm a smart man, okay? I know when it's not appropriate amongst a group of ladies to get involved in a conversation where things are being said about men that, aren't nice. They might have been true, but not nice, okay? I just not going to say anything. I just sat in the background quietly and worked away. But anyways, I had a really good time, and I thank Brenda and the other ladies who put that on, and I'm looking forward to the next one, and I hope I'll get an invitation to join it at that time as well. Unless they don't want a man in the group. Oh well. So anyways, yeah, so it was a busy week, so I said to Walter, to be honest, I'm just too tired to do a So Chatty. And, to be honest, the topic we were going to do, and we'll probably still do, we're not absolutely comfortable with it, but it was a request to talk about different types of batting. And we have a few resources. But I need to do a little bit more research as well for that one. And I just didn't have the energy, to be honest. I just didn't for that. So hopefully this week I'll have the energy. Well, I'm going to have the energy. There will be a So Chatty this week. And if you have any ideas for So Chatty, please put them in the comments below or send me an email, because we really appreciate suggestions. Okay, so let's see. That takes me to, okay, this is kind of a broken record now. I know, I'm sorry, but I want to give you an update on the situation. So Dragonfly Quilting out in BC, that's where I ordered the Strong and Free pattern from, and all the problems I had with that, and it took weeks before I finally got a full refund because they just couldn't get their act together and get it to me for a variety of reasons. Okay, fine. I had written a message because they weren't answering their emails to me. I did write a message on their Facebook page because social media is a very good way to get a hold of some companies. They do take note. They might not answer your emails, they might not answer your phone calls or get back to you, but if you put it on their Facebook page where thousands upon thousands of people can see it, you will get a reaction very quickly. Now, I usually say that tactic as a last resort. I would like to give a company a fair chance to, reply to my emails in a reasonable time, but Dragonfly did not. So I posted this message on their Facebook page. Now, I wasn't nasty or anything like that, or called them horrible individuals or whatever, but I just outlined the whole situation and what I had been going through. My last two sentences were just simply stated that because of this, I didn't have a comfortable feeling about their customer service, and as such, I was not going to order from them in the future. And that was the end of it. I thought that was the end of it. Last Friday, I got a phone call from, I guess, the owner of Dragonfly Quilting. He had finally seen the message on Facebook. It took a few days before he saw it. And from what he told me, it sounded like actually either one of his staff or a good customer made him aware that this message was there. Now, there was a customer that replied to or made a comment about my message that I wrote on Dragonfly's Facebook and said that, well, they were surprised that I'd had this experience because they had been dealing with them for years and it had excellent service and everything like that. And, I'm happy for that person. I'm glad they did. I did not. I can only base my opinion on my experience, okay? And as I said, I was not being blatantly angry or bad-mouthing the company. I just stated everything as it had happened. So anyways, I have a feeling that might have been the customer that put the owner of Dragonfly Quilting onto this. So he gave me a call. Very nice man, very pleasant, and very apologetic. Now, he did give me some excuses for why things went the way they did. And I'll spare you all those excuses. They may be what actually happened. They may not be actually what happened. Actually, I think what happened is I think there's a breakdown of communication between the bosses of Dragonfly Quilting and their staff. I think that's what it is more than anything else. But I don't have any evidence for that except from my experience, as I said. Anyways, we talked for a while. We had a very pleasant conversation. And he offered to credit my account $25 towards my next order. Well, that's nice. That's something. But no, I'm sorry. And I said this to him. I said, I really appreciate you giving me this call, going out of your way to call me, and explaining the situation and apologizing for it. That says something about your company in a positive way. And I said, and I do appreciate you offering me this credit, but I'm sorry, please don't, because I won't be taking advantage of it. Because, to be honest, I said, I just can't rely upon you to get things out to me. I'm not going to be ordering from you again. And this isn't just based on this experience. This is based on an experience I had quite a long time ago with them, and I'd sort of forgotten about it until this situation happened. And it was something very similar. So that's where I'm leaving it. If you deal with dragonfly quilts and you're happy, good. I'm glad. That's great. That's wonderful. If you haven't dealt with them before and you're thinking about dealing with them, well, you make the decision. It's up to you. Maybe things will work out for you fine. They didn't for me. That's all I can say. Okay, let's get off that topic and move on. And we're going to move on now to to a demo that I have for you this week. And it's, I love making pin cushions using my 3D printer. And I've made all kinds of them. So I thought I would talk about the process for making my 3D printed pin cushions. So I've done a little video for you. So I made a video to show you how I make my pin cushions, and while I was making the video my sound was not turned on, so I'm doing a voiceover. So here I'm showing you the fabric circles that I cut out with this device, which is called the True Cut 360, and you can get it on Amazon, and it really makes it easy for cutting out the circles to whatever shape you want. And of course you can see the little copper thing is a copper thimble that I print on my 3D printer in order to make my pin cushions. So what I'm doing now is I'm taking a darning needle with some strong cord and I'm sewing in and out through the edges of the piece of fabric circle. And that's what I'm going to use to tighten it all up. And I'm putting in my polyfill now and getting it stuffed in there and tying a knot and pulling it tight. And that's going to make my little round piece that's going to fit inside the cup. So I'm trimming off the edges of the thread right now. And now I'm taking my glue gun and I'm putting a line of glue, and I'm being very generous, on the inside of the cup. And I pop the little tuffet, or whatever you want to call it, right into the cup, and it's secure. And now I'm just putting some pins that I bought from Amazon. I bought a big load of them, and just putting them all in. And so that finishes off the pin cushion. And this technique can be used with anything you want to make into a pin cushion. Now, this is the point in the episode where I would usually be talking about somebody's quilt or creation that they have sent to me. Unfortunately, I have nothing to show you this week. So I need your pictures. 1 or 2 are great. No more than 3, please. And a very brief blurb about whatever it is that you have sent me a picture of. Only 3, 4, 5 sentences at the most. That's all I need. And you can send those to my email account. Email's in the show notes, as you know. And I'll be more than happy to feature one of your creations. And when I say creations, I mean anything. It doesn't have to be a quilt. It could be a garment. It could be some knitting. It could be some crocheting. It could be a painting. It could be a paper craft, a scrapbook page. It could be whatever. If you're a maker and you've got something you would like to show off, send it to me and I'll show it off for you. Okay, so that takes me to the YouTube channel of the week, and this one is called Inspired Quilting by Louise that I have just recently found. This week's YouTube channel is called Inspired Quilting by Louise, and this is really an interesting site because there is a great variety of video tutorials on here that I think appeal to anybody at any stage of their quilting journey. So you can see here her popular uploads are Amazingly Simple Quilting Pattern, Easy Fat Quarter Quilt Pattern, Easy Charm Square Pattern. These ones really appeal to me because I like pre-cuts, as you know, and I would really like to find patterns that will allow me to use those with a minimal amount of cutting because I'm lazy. Let's take a look at her other videos that she has here. A Quilter's Oasis, rented lips. A Quilter's Oasis, having trouble with that word. Quilt Shop Fat Quarters and Charms. So Charm Packs seems to do a lot of things with pre-cuts here. Easy half square triangle tutorial. That's always good to know, especially if you're a beginner. How to cut charm squares. Easy Quilting Pattern, a Merry Christmas Tree Quilt. So she has a lot here. Let's take a look at her playlist to see how things are organized. So she has, if I get this pulled down, she has some quilt shop tours, only a couple of those. Stash Buster quilts, rag quilting, baby size companion quilts, free quilting patterns and tutorials. Oh, that would be interesting. I may have to check that out further. Quilting with fat quarters, quilting with jeans and denim. So there's something here for everybody, and I'm sure that these would also be inspiring as well as helpful in showing you techniques and tricks. So you might want to check out Inspired Quilting by Louise. And now that takes me to what's on my vision board. Well, you've already seen it. When I make my videos a week ahead before I post them. And I had planned to show you the Irish Gnome applique and talk about that as one of the projects I want to do. And then for some reason, last week, I did it. I got it done quicker. So you've already seen it. So you saw one of my visions come to fruition. So there it is. Now, I do have lots of other things on my vision board that I want to show you, but I'm going to save those for next week as well. So for this week, my vision board was the applique, and you've seen it already. Actually, I think, though, I did make a little video about that. Oh, well, why not see the video I made? This week's pattern for my vision board is not a quilt. It's actually an applique, and I just recently got this, and last week I showed this to you very quickly on the last episode of the Idiot Quilter. But this one caught my eye when I was buying some other things from Stitch in the Ditch out in BC, and I just thought it was cute, and you know how I've got a predisposition towards gnomes. Now, this one is an Irish gnome, and I'm assuming this would be very appropriate for the month of March for St. Paddy's Day. And so I ordered it. And now I don't do a lot of applique, but I do enjoy doing it every now and then. And this little block looks very easy. Now, one of the things that makes this block really easy is the fact that all of the pieces have already come pre-cut out. They're laser cut. And on top of that, they are backed with a fusible webbing. So it should be a very easy project to lay it down on a block of fabric and stitch around it, and you've got the block done. Now I'm thinking about making this into a banner for my front door for the month of March. So I may take a look at some of my gnome embroidery files and maybe create a small little banner. So that's my idea for this, and I'll let you know how it turns out. So I've already mentioned the fact that I have an interview up with Kate Jackson of The Last Homely House, so do check that out. I think you'll find it really, really interesting. And that takes me to where I get a little critical about one of my creations. Well, actually, I'm not going to talk about one of my creations today. I'm going to talk about one of Walter's creations, and it's one of his freestanding embroidery projects. Now, this one's a little dated because it was a Halloween project, but nevertheless, I'm either early or I'm late for Halloween. Either way, but here, I want to showcase for you one of Walter's makes. This week on my critique of my own creations, I'm not going to critique mine, I'm going to critique Walter's. And really, there's nothing really here to critique. This is for Halloween. Yes, I know I'm very, very early for this, or very, very late. Depends on which way you look at it. But these are in the hoop appliques, and Walter worked on these two houses, and they came out absolutely beautiful, as you can see. I have absolutely no criticism of the job that he has done here because these came out perfect. They are time consuming to make, and you can put a little light, a little LED light on the inside of them, and they glow. And you notice there's a couple of accessories, a little fence and a little tree, which he also did a wonderful job on. Now, when I say they take a little bit of time, they do. Several days, basically, to put all the pieces together, because you do it in pieces. And then these little pieces, you can see them up here, the little knobs, they go through eyelets, which are a bit of a pain in the butt to do. But if you have a pair of hemostats, it works out very well. And what I always do, and I think Walter did it here too, is I put a little drop of glue that dries clear on the end of each one of these so that they don't pull apart. I made a couple of these as well, so we have a whole little haunted village of houses which sit on our family room coffee table at Halloween time, and they have a very haunting glow to them. They're a lot of fun to do. So if you've never tried to do an in the hoop project, don't let it scare you away. Get it? Scare you, haunted, Halloween. Okay, bad pun. Because they are very easy and very enjoyable to make. So Walter did an excellent job. And that takes me to the online quilt store for this week. And this one happens to be Dragon's Heart Quilt Shop. Please don't confuse that with Dragonfly Quilts. This is totally different, okay? It's Dragon's Heart Quilt Shop, and here's my review. This week's online quilt store is called Dragon Heart's Quilt Shop, and it's out in Alberta. Seems to be the place to go if you want to get fabric. Go to Alberta. They have lots of quilt stores. So let's take a look at this one. I have never dealt with them before. This is my first look at them, so you know that I will be basing my review upon my first impressions according to their website. So here's their front page, and they have a banner rolling by talking about different things that they have. And their newest arrivals are listed here as well. And right off the bat, I see that they have in Canadian dollars, it looks like it's $21.99 for these. So I'm assuming that's $21.99 a meter. But we'll check that out in a moment. They have the Acorn Precision Piecing Kit, which is something that is not easy to get. And this is an excellent product. So it's nice to see that they are selling it. They have a paper-pieced heart quilt block. It's a free pattern. That might be kind of interesting. They have a Facebook page. They're having a panel sale. Don't know what to get that special someone. Here's a little hint, honey. Gift cards, okay. And shop the collection. Well, let's do that. Let's shop their collection of fabrics and see how this is set up. It looks like it's going to trendtextfabrics.com. That's interesting. That almost looks like it could be outside of their website. So they must have a partnership with the group. Okay, with Trendtext. Well, I'm not really interested in that. I want to see what they have on their actual website. So let's go to shop. And see what they have. Okay, fabric, baby and kid fabric, seasonal, flannel, pre-cuts, wide backs, thread kits, notions, English paper piecing, block of the month, patterns and books, gifts, apparel and accessories, and a sale. Okay, let's check out the fabric, because that's always the main event. All right, I'm clicking on it. It's taking it a bit to come up. Shop by, okay, they have categories. They have Tulip Pink, they have Northcott, Brent Lewis, Prairie Metal, Clothworks, Andover, Figo, not sure how to say that. 3-yard bundles, pre-cuts, panels, wide backs, Robert Kaufman, Kona Sheen, Cuddle Text. They got a lot. They look like they have a lot. Let's check out the Northcott, since that's one of my favorites. And they've got Northcott My Canada, so let's check that out and see. Now, I noticed their prices, as that page is flipping by, are varied. They're not all $21. So they have flannel, 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 knit, knit. Okay, do we have cotton? Quilting cotton. Let's check this out and see if this is quilting cotton. It's $19.99 Canadian. We still haven't determined. Okay, their web page is not very responsive, so you'll have to be patient with it. Quantity 1. View more details. And not many details. My Canada Maple Leaf Spray Multi. Okay. Doesn't say whether it's cotton or flannel. The only reason I'm questioning that is because they had all this flannel in that section. And I still don't know if that's per meter or by yard. their prices look, from what I've just seen, are, you know, in the ballpark now because fabric has gone up. Let's just try one more thing and see what we find. Okay, so let's pick something like, okay, let's go to Andover and see what we get here. Looks like they have a chat feature. That's always kind of nice. I like chat features. Okay, $21.99 for this. So yeah, it's looking like most of their fabrics are in the $19 to $22 range, and still not sure if that's a meter or a yard. Not that it matters that much. Now I like this, out of stock. Okay, telling me right up front that something's out of stock. I don't have to wait until I put it in my cart, then go to checkout and it comes up and says it's out of stock. Okay, well, they do have some interesting fabrics to choose from. What else do they have in the shop? Let's take a look. Of course, I love the pre-cuts, so let's check those out. This is not very responsive. And I don't think it's my internet connection. Okay, so what do we got here? Well, what you'd expect. Fat quarter bundles, layer cakes, jelly rolls, charm packs. Prices are okay. It might be slightly on the high end, but, you know, prices right now on fabrics are all fluctuating. And seem to have their selection. That's kind of pretty. Oh, it's K Facet. Of course, I'd be attracted to that since I love K Facet. Yeah, not a bad selection from what I'm seeing here, and there are more pages of this too. I won't bother going to those, but might be worth it. And let's go back into their shop again and check one more thing out. Let's see what they have for thread. Pre-wound bobbins and 2D thread. I'm not familiar with 2D thread. Nice colors though. $13.10 a spool. Do they sell any other brands? Let's see. We'll load more. Looks like they principally, yeah, they only sell 2D thread. Okay, so that's limiting. All right, they do have long arm quilting services, and you can purchase a long arm from them. So I wonder what their make is. Oh, it looks like they do APQS because that's a picture of a Millie. That's the brand that I own too. All right, let's go over to events, see if they have classes or anything. Upcoming events. Technique Sampler Block of the Month. They have a tropical retreat in March. And it doesn't look like they have any classes though. Just out of curiosity, let's see if we can find out a little bit more about their retreat. Looks like it's over a 3-day period. Save the dates, about the event. Tropical Zoom retreat, $99. Okay, so this mustn't be accommodation and food. It says includes 3 days of instruction via Zoom. Oh, it's a Zoom retreat. Okay. That's nice. Yeah. So I guess you work on whatever you want. Yeah, it's a retreat, $99. I don't think that's out of the way. So that's kind of interesting. I think that's the first one I've come across on one of these quilt stores that actually has a retreat that's online. That's a Zoom retreat. Okay, let's go to their FAQs because I wonder what their shipping is. And yeah, right there. Good, right at the top. How much? Because we are small, family-run business that hasn't yet shipped high volumes of shipments, we don't quite qualify to benefit from discounted shipping rates. We hope one day to be able to qualify for those discounts and in turn pass that discount on to you. In the meantime, the cost list below reflects a shipping charge in which discounts are applied as Dragonheart's Quilt Shop absorbs some of the shipping costs for our online customers. So, all domestic orders receive free shipping with a minimum purchase of $150 before taxes. And then the rate, if you are under that amount, to my province is $19.99. Okay, $20. That's not unreasonable. The United States, $22.50. That's pretty good. You can pick it up at the store or they're shipped by Canada Post. Okay, well, I don't think that that's really out of the way. And they have their return policy and cancellations for classes and stuff. So that's good. That looks very clearly written and it's right up there in front. The only thing I didn't figure out yet was whether or not the fabric was by the meter or by the yard. I suspect it's by the meter, but I don't know for sure. And they have a little about us. And there's the owner, and I'm just skimming through this. And they do have, it looks like a quilt shop, a brick and mortar one, and it's in Pincher Creek, Alberta. Sounds quaint. Okay, so overall, my impression of them is this one might not be a bad place to shop from. They seem to have not a bad variety. Their prices are not out of the way. They're about average. And I really like the fact that they're doing a retreat online as well. So you might want to check out Dragonheart's Quilt Shop in Alberta, Canada. So that takes us to the end of the episode this week. And yeah, I've got a busy week. I'm doing a block of the month, and that starts tomorrow. So I'll be talking more about that next week. And it's all done by Zoom. And just as an aside, Donna, who's doing this, she and I were on Zoom yesterday. She's never really used Zoom before. So we're trying to work out some of the kinks in using technology to teach a class. And hopefully all will go well on Wednesday. But I am going to be sitting in the background, even though I'm also taking the class, to lend a hand if I can, if Donna runs into any problems. So we'll see how that goes, but I'm sure it'll go quite well. Donna's an excellent teacher. So yeah, that's what I've got coming up, and I got to get over to my Lucy and start quilting the Strong and Free quilt. So lots to do, you know, that's life, and I'm enjoying it, and I hope you are too. So we'll see you next week. Bye bye for now.